I think that. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
First Coast News begins with breaking news.
And we start with breaking news tonight at 11. A large fire is now under control near World Golf Village. These are new pictures from the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. They tell us a prescribed burn had gotten out of control in the back of a wooded area in the new Markland subdivision. That's near I-95. But the good news, no one was injured. And once again, I know it says out of control right there, but that's not correct. It is under control. We just got that information into our newsroom. No injuries, no homes were damaged.
He was sort of a loner until he got older, and then a lot of times he had young boys with him.
For the first time, we are hearing from a relative of a mental health counselor accused of murdering and dismembering a 16-year-old boy.
Ron Hyde was arrested earlier this month, charged with the 1994 murder of Fred Laster, a teenager who'd been missing from Yulee for more than 2 decades. Relatives of Hyde's in Georgia sat down tonight with our Julia Janae. She joins us now with what they had to say. Julia?
That's right, guys. Over the last couple of days, family members of Ron Hyde have been telling us more about a man who is now accused of a chilling crime. They didn't want to be identified by name, but they say there was something always odd about Ron Hyde.
He was sort of a loner until he got older, and then a lot of times he had young boys with him.
A relative of Ron Hyde says they didn't see him often, but during family visits, she remembers wondering about the company he kept.
He would just say he would be counseling them and stuff like that. They were in bad relationships with their parents, and that's how they hooked up. Usually they were like from 13 to 16.
Often the boys they met, she says, were staying with him, but she says little could have prepared her for this.
What was your reaction to seeing these reports?
I really wasn't too surprised because, well, I mean, I was surprised that he had been arrested, but then when they had the FBI and all that in on it, you sort of figure it has to be true.
She says Hyde kept in touch over the years on Facebook. We asked about a social media post by Hyde saying he had been emotionally and physically abused from age 3 to 10.
It's just hard to believe that he was abused because they were two of the kindest people I've ever known, his mom and dad.
She says Hyde's mother passed in 1993 and his ill father went to live with them in early 1994. But by June of 94, when Fred Laster's body was found, Hyde may have been living in this Jacksonville Beach home alone.
I mean, he was nice and everything. He, like I said, he pretty much stuck to himself. But he was fine.
And we've also been looking into Hyde's criminal history in Duval County, where we've learned that he lived most of the entirety of his life. And aside from some traffic misdemeanors, there was nothing there. He remains tonight in Duval County Jail on no bond. Reporting from the Information Center, Julia Janae, First Coast News.
All right, Julia, thank you. Well, new tonight, hundreds of people have donated to a GoFundMe account to help bury this South Florida family. All 5 of them died after a 3-car crash in Alachua County over the weekend. The Russell family was driving back home from Georgia on Sunday. FHP says their car drifted into the back of a disabled tractor trailer on I-75. The couple's twin 10-year-olds and 15-year-old child were killed, along with the parents. So far, about $19,000 has been raised to help with their funeral expenses. The goal is to raise $50,000. And if you'd like to help, we have more information posted on firstcoastnews.com.
Since January, more than 100 bomb threats have been called into Jewish centers across the country, including here in Jacksonville. Jewish cemeteries have also been vandalized. Well, tonight, the special agent in charge of the Jacksonville FBI office met with the community at the Jacksonville Jewish Center to discuss concerns and answer questions tonight. Stephen Dial was there. And Stephen, what are the people in the Jewish community saying about these threats?
Anthony, right now they say they are worried and scared seeing all of this news all over the nation and even bomb threats happening here in Jacksonville. As you mentioned, tonight they spoke with the special agent in charge trying to sort things out.
It's everywhere, and it's very frightening.
Images of desecrated Jewish grave sites have people like Rita Baumgarten concerned.
We certainly hope that the investigators, the FBI, and everyone involved is going to get to the bottom of it.
Since January, this has been the site at multiple cemeteries. More than 100 bomb threats have been made to Jewish centers nationwide, including here in Jacksonville.
I will do everything I can to track down the perpetrators and bring them to justice.
Charles Spencer is the new special agent in charge for the FBI in Jacksonville. Tuesday, he answered questions from people in the Jewish community. He believes the threats are coming from one person or group.
They're all happening at the same time over a very similar time frame, so one would assume that a group or someone directed is probably doing that.
Rachel Mitchell says her concerns won't go away until action happens.
When they find the people that are doing this, then we'll feel better.
The special agent in charge says that later this year, agents from the D.C. office of the FBI will have 2 town hall meetings with the community later this year. He also says that they met with leaders in the Muslim community last week. Reporting from downtown, Stephen Dial, First Coast News.
Lucky to be alive. That is how a witness describes the people inside of this car that flipped in the middle of the Buckman Bridge tonight. Look at this picture. Michael McDaniel shared this with us. He tells us he was driving on the Buckman this evening around 7:30 when he saw this car upside down, and he stopped to help the 3 people who were trapped inside.
He bent the back frame from the convertible top to free the passenger in the back seat, and a guy had a bar. He busted out the driver's window, and the driver got out. And then the passenger, she was on her head upside down, and her ponytail was trapped between the vehicle and the road, and I pulled on it as hard as I could, but I couldn't free it.
Now, he tells us that she waited for first responders to arrive on the scene. They were able to use a jack to free the woman. All 3 passengers, he says, walked away. The crash shut down one lane of traffic on the Buckman for more than an hour. It has since, though, reopened.
The employee stabbed during a robbery at a Metro PCS store in Jacksonville is in the hospital tonight after losing an eye. Police say 18-year-old Emery Handy stabbed a 64-year-old man 16 times, 9 times in the face. Handy is then accused of taking money out of the register and just running away. We spoke with co-workers who say the victim left the store's back door open while he was outside feeding cats, and that's when the robber came in.
He came with a knife and just attacked, Rick with, there's blood everywhere. There was a lot of blood everywhere.
Handy is now charged with armed robbery with a deadly weapon and attempted murder. Authorities say several tips came in once they circulated photos of the suspect online.
Despite major efforts to turn it around, a local housing complex is still not making the grade. Today, we learned that Eureka Gardens failed yet another HUD inspection. Residents are dealing with everything from bug infestations to missing smoke detectors and mold. 18 months ago, HUD met with residents from Eureka Gardens in Washington Heights to try and address concerns.
It's a lot of debt that Eureka Gardens and the other properties are under, so they're trying to structure it correctly. I feel good about their structure. I feel good about the financial capabilities, but they still have to get there. A closing isn't a close until it closes, and unfortunately, because it hasn't closed yet, we're still dealing with Richard Hamlet.
Now, the owner of Eureka Gardens, Global Ministries, responded tonight saying that it will appeal the decision. Senator Marco Rubio is also weighing in. He says he's going to continue working with his colleagues in Congress to make sure that these issues are finally resolved.
A St. Augustine mother says a drunk man started yelling and cursing at her and her 5-year-old daughter while they were trying to watch Beauty and the Beast. This all happened at the Epic Theater Friday night. The police report shows that the man started complimenting the young girl's costume. The mother says he seemed nice at first, but after tripping in the theater, he just started yelling, cursing, and verbally harassing them. The sheriff's office says other moviegoers jumped in to help the mother and her daughter. An investigator said he could smell a strong odor of alcohol on the suspect, and Jaquel was released on bond tonight, and he's facing a disorderly conduct charge. Well, still no arrest after a high-speed police chase in northwest Jacksonville last night. An off-duty officer tells us there was a hit-and-run crash near the Cleveland Arms Apartments. That led to a 5-minute police chase. It ended with the driver causing another crash. Police are looking for any possible suspects and witnesses.
Tonight, we have learned that a company associated with Councilwoman Katrina Brown has now filed for bankruptcy. You may remember federal agents raided a barbecue restaurant co-owned by Brown several months ago. The city of Jacksonville is still seeking hundreds of thousands of dollars for a grant that was meant to create 56 jobs. That never happened. An
archaeological dig in St. Augustine has taken a very emotional turn. A baby's remains have been discovered. It's all happening in a building where A1AL Works is located in downtown St. Augustine. The building's owner had to rip up the floors because they were damaged by the hurricane, and so he offered the archaeologists the chance to dig under the floor, and that's when the team started finding human burials.
A startling sight on I-95 today is a semi jumps a barrier. So look at this right here. This is time-lapse video. Crews working to separate the trailer to remove it from the interstate. You can see it right there being pulled up. This happened near Kings Road on the Beaver Street overpass. Florida Highway Patrol tells us that the crash involved several cars. It caused a backup in the northbound lanes for several hours. Now, there were injuries. No word, though, on the conditions tonight.
Now to a story that has a lot of you talking online. We've all heard about some bizarre diets and things that people try to do to lose a few pounds. Well, a new procedure is now helping patients swallow balloons. Yeah, they're swallowing balloons to lose weight. We're going to tell you all about this in 5 minutes.
Well, we know about the consequences of drinking and driving, but penalties could be getting a lot stricter for first-time offenders.
What lawmakers are considering now. Plus, a gun goes off outside a Florida school, and the person who pulled the trigger, a toddler. We're going to explain coming up.
And it's been a stormy night over the southeast, especially Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina. There was a fatality in North Georgia due to the high winds. We'll take a look at where these storms are headed, how it might impact smoke from fires, fog from the Gulf, and eventually bring us cooler temperatures.
Hello, Mike check 1 2 3 4 5. First from you, athlete of the week is Anthony.
Tougher penalties could be on the way for first-time drunk driving offenders. There's a new bill moving through the Florida legislature, and it would require you to connect a breathalyzer to your car's ignition after your first conviction. So if you're over the legal limit, your car won't start. This bill still has to go through 2 more committees before reaching the House floor. 28 other states already have similar laws.
A Florida mother is charged with child neglect tonight after her 3-year-old shot a gun out of a car window. This happened in Deltona outside of school Monday. The mother, Abby Maldonado, says she left the boy alone in the car while picking up her other children from school. Moments later, the toddler got a hold of this loaded gun in the front seat of the car and pulled the trigger.
It's frightening, absolutely frightening to think what could have happened. It absolutely could have been a tragedy.
The front driver's side window was shattered, but thankfully no one was hurt. Deputies say this is a reminder for all you parents tonight to never leave a child unattended in your car, especially with a loaded gun.
Gosh. Well, a 10-year-old girl is safe tonight thanks to her very quick thinking. She says that a stranger tried to kidnap her right there in the Walmart parking lot near Orlando. She took off running. This surveillance video captured the whole thing happening. Her grandmother says she's so proud of what she did. The suspect right there, he got away.
The Department of Homeland Security is banning any electronic device larger than a cell phone on U.S.-bound flights from 10 airports in the Middle East and North Africa. Laptops, tablets, cameras, and other gadgets will have to be placed in checked baggage. For now, most passengers will not be impacted. There is no change for domestic flights, and the new rules are only over about 50 flights daily into the U.S.
A major health alert tonight. The FDA now says that breast implants can cause a rare form of cancer that may have killed at least 9 people already. The cancer is called anaplastic large cell lymphoma, and it may be linked to both silicone and saline implants. Officials say the cancer can take about 10 years to develop, and it's usually diagnosed after a patient reports pain and swelling. The FDA recommends patients do research before getting breast implants.
Okay, you've likely heard about crazy diets before. Perhaps you've tried one. Well, tonight there's a new procedure that has people swallowing balloons to lose weight. It's called the Abalone balloon system. It's FDA approved actually, and only takes a doctor about 10 minutes to complete. So here's how it works. Over a period of about 6 months, patients swallow 3 inflatable balloons that then expand in their stomachs to take up space. That encourages patients to eat less. The program is geared toward people with a body mass index of more than 30. The average cost, including nutritional support, ranges from $6,000 to $9,000. But once again, a doctor does this, so this is not something you should try
medical procedure.
at home. This is a medical procedure.
That is right. Well, for the first time in years, putting a human on Mars, now more than just a goal. Today, President Donald Trump signed a bill into law urging NASA to do so by 2033. During the signing, the president was surrounded by astronauts and also Florida Senators Bill Nelson and Marco Rubio. The law includes more than $19 billion in funding for NASA. Senator Ted Cruz joked that we should send Congress into space.
Well, it's the first of its kind. Apple is now unveiling a new red iPhone and a watch to go with it. The proceeds from the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus will be donated to a global fund to fight the AIDS virus. You can order the phones online worldwide and in stores this Friday. The company also updated its most popular sized iPad, featuring a brighter display at a lower price. That iPad goes for $329 on Friday.
Cheaper version. All right, yep. Tim joins us now. Tim, I want to ask you about the fire we were talking about at the top of the broadcast in St. Johns County. It's now under control, but could we see more of these fires?
Well, certainly we need the rain because we're below normal, but my biggest initial concern is going to be tomorrow morning because even though it's under control, that smoke is going to be drifting eastward. So you guys said it's near World Golf Village and I-95. Yeah. So think in St. Johns County, if you're east of I-95, that could be settling on the ground. Might want to give yourself a little extra time. So let's take a real quick look at, there it is, the stormy weather, and it has been stormy this evening, especially Georgia and South Carolina. So where are those storms going to go? First of all, if you're out and about late tonight, look at all of the lightning with these storms that, again, did produce a fatality over Jackson County in North Georgia due to downed trees. Still severe thunderstorm watches, but notice where it extends eastward, not southeastward. So if you're out and about tonight, you might see some lightning on the horizon. You might even call it heat lightning. It's real lightning, but again, those storms will stay well to the north of us. But energy blowing in toward those storms is one of the reasons we're going to keep elevated winds tonight. Nothing more than about 15 miles per hour, but that's versus what is normally a calm scenario. So I've pointed here the wind direction, the general area of the fire, at least that we've been talking about, and where the smoke will settle toward the early morning hours. At the same time, we're going to have, watch this, some clouds and some fog roll in from the Gulf early in the morning. That'll break off, then comes the front, and the front will arrive late in the afternoon and the evening. I'm not expecting a major thunderstorm outbreak like they've seen up north, but we could see a few scattered showers and even an isolated thunderstorm. The main change I think you're going to notice is after a spring break type day again on Wednesday, late in the day, the northeast winds will pick up and the temperatures will drop. So if you have a choice to take the spring breakers to the beach on Wednesday versus Thursday, Wednesday is your day. Notice small craft flags are already up because once those winds come in, they're going to be strong and they'll be out of the northeast. Over the Jackson metro area, 84. Again, some fog in the morning. It'll be foggier for you folks farther out to the west and to the southwest. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra, you could have a shower maybe after about 6 p.m. Orange Park, notice you're going to make it to almost 90, but then maybe a shower after about 5 or 6. Out around the Suwannee River Valley, and even east of there, Union, Bradford, Baker County, up to about 84 degrees. Then you're going to cool down. Amelia Island, Fernandina, St. Mary's, even all the way up toward Waycross. Despite the front, we're just going to stay partly cloudy skies. The big difference for many areas will actually be later Wednesday and then on into Thursday. Although you folks around Brunswick, the Golden Isles, you may see temperatures actually drop into the 60s. It doesn't sound cold, but compared to the record heat we had today, by tomorrow evening, the chill will be out there. In fact, overall, late tomorrow afternoon and into Thursday, the daytime temperatures will feel about 30 degrees colder than what we're going to have on Wednesday and what we had during the day. Notice the morning low is not all that bad. Then we see conditions moderate as we head toward Friday and then in toward the weekend.
All right, Tim, first from you, this week's Athlete of the Week comes to us from Fleming Island. Jack Surgener is one of the brightest kids in the nation to put on football pads. Straight A student, 4.2 GPA, 34 on the ACT. Jack hopes to combine his football skills and his brain and attend an Ivy League school. He's already in contact with Ivy football coaches, including Harvard. In fact, Jack's so intelligent, sometimes Fleming Island's football coach Springs will lean on Jack, not only physically, but mentally to help the football program move in a positive direction. Surgener credits his coaches and school to his personal success.
We have a lot of resources at Fleming Island, and I think how to balance it is I just stay focused and take advantage of the resources. I brought an essay one time to football practice, and I did it on the sidelines when I could.
It's very unique because he helped me on some of my bad calls when I was a defensive coordinator. He helped me on some of my bad calls, and he'll correct me, and I'd be like, yeah, go with it. I've been coaching him at linebacker since he was a freshman, so he's tough, too.
All right, if you know a student athlete who's doing well in the sports they play and also excelling in the classroom, please nominate them for Athlete of the Week by going to firstcoastnews.com or filling out the form and emailing us at sports@firstcoastnews.com. Coming up in sports, we're going dancing with the Gators in the Sweet 16. Can you prompt me, please?
From the Farah and Farah Sports Desk, it's First Coast Sports.
Hello, everybody. Let's talk college hoops. Who had Wisconsin and Florida in the Sweet 16? Heather, Anthony? No, not many of us. 2 years ago, UF finished 16-17 in Billy Donovan's final season. 2 weeks ago, UF was skidding with 3 losses in its last 4 games and found itself an early exit in the SEC tournament. So why would you have picked the Gators to go dancing in the Big Apple? Well, let me tell you how they got there, and there's one answer, and that is defense. Obvious, right? You hold Virginia to 35 points, you're doing something right, and now with Florida finding success, head coach Mike White is in the spotlight. Many comparing White to former Florida coach Billy Donovan. White says, nah, bro.
Someone had to follow him, you know, and again, he made it a better job. It's University of Florida. I mean, I'm not competing with Coach Donovan. I'm just trying to do the best job I can do. And
when I first heard that Coach White was going to be our coach, I didn't know who he was. I had a lot of trust in Coach Donovan, and he put us in a position. He told me he's going to put us in a position that we wasn't going to be disappointed.
Pipe it up, Coach Mike White. All right, time now for the sports moments that have you asking yourself, seriously? Clippers game, halftime, this one fan, one shining moment, and not even close. That looks like Anthony Austin if he jumped on a trampoline. But how about this one? Chris Staples, brother of First Coast News producer Chari Staples, in skinny jeans and all, making it look absolutely way too easy. Amazing. Chari, I don't know if you can do that upstairs, but that is some serious talent in your family. And she just told me in here she could. All right, let's move on now. Earlier, Mike White not piping it up. Also not piping it up is Tim Tebow. One day after learning Tim will be starting his baseball career with the Columbia Fireflies, Timmy met the media and commented on his new home.
I mean, this is a game mentally. You have to be prepared to handle failure. You know, if you fail 70% of the time, you're one of the best players in the game, and you have to be able to handle it mentally. And so it's not like you go into something ever being afraid of it. You go into it respecting it, but also working and excited about the challenge and the opportunity.